You're sitting right now, maybe crossed legs, maybe one foot tucked under you, maybe sprawled out or curled tight. You think it's just comfort, random preference. But trauma therapists can read your entire nervous system history from that position, not from what you say, from how your body protects itself when you think no one's watching. Your sitting position is a frozen moment from your childhood, a defensive posture your nervous system learned when you were too small to fight back. And it's still running, decades later, every single time you sit down. Let's decode what your body is still trying to protect you from. Meet three people in a waiting room. Emma sits with legs crossed tightly, arms folded, taking up minimal space. Marcus spreads out, one arm on the chair back, legs wide, claiming territory. Sophia perches on the edge of her seat, ready to move, never fully settling. Three different sitting styles. But trauma researchers at the Trauma Research Foundation discovered something remarkable. These aren't personality quirks. They're freeze responses. Your body positioning itself based on childhood survival strategies. Your nervous system making the same calculation it made when you were 7 years old and powerless. Let's start with the minimizer position. Legs crossed tightly, sometimes double-crossed. Arms pulled in close. Shoulders slightly hunched, taking up the smallest possible space. This is the fawn trauma response, crystallized into posture. Research shows this develops in children who learn that being small, quiet, and unobtrusive kept them safe. Maybe you had a volatile parent. Maybe you competed with siblings for limited attention. Maybe you learned that your needs were inconvenient, so your body learned to literally shrink. That's not modesty. That's a nervous system that still believes taking up space is dangerous. You cross your legs to contain yourself, to be less, to avoid triggering anger or disappointment. Your body is still playing small to stay safe. Then there's the spreader position. Legs wide apart, taking maximum space. One or both arms extended, claiming armrests, chair backs. Posture open and dominant. This looks like confidence, but trauma therapists see something else. Hypervigilance disguised as dominance. This often develops from childhood environments where showing vulnerability meant getting hurt. Maybe emotional neglect taught you no one would protect you. Maybe you learned early that you had to defend yourself. So your body learned to take space aggressively, to signal, don't mess with me before anyone tries. That wide stance isn't relaxation. It's defensive expansion. Your nervous system maintaining a buffer zone. You're not spreading out because you're comfortable. You're spreading out because unconsciously, you're still guarding a perimeter. The percher position is different. Sitting on the edge of seats, never fully relaxing back. Weight forward, ready to stand. One foot often, touching the ground even when seated. This is flight response in furniture form. Studies on trauma survivors show this develops in unpredictable childhoods, where you never knew when you'd need to escape. Maybe sudden rages, maybe chaotic household dynamics. Maybe you learned that sitting meant being trapped when things went wrong, so your body refuses to commit to sitting. You perch because unconsciously, you're maintaining exit readiness. That's not restlessness. That's a nervous system that never received the message that it's safe to land. Here's where it gets deeper. The leg position tells the secondary story. Ankle over knee creates a barrier, a literal crossed defense. Both feet flat on ground signals hypervigilance and readiness. One leg tucked under shows self-soothing and emotional retreat. Legs wrapped around chair legs reveals anchoring behavior from free-floating anxiety. Your legs aren't just resting. They're executing defensive protocols written decades ago. The therapist ran an experiment. She asked therapy clients to sit in their natural position, then slowly guided them into different postures. When minimizers were asked to spread out and take space, many reported immediate anxiety, even panic. Their nervous systems interpreted taking space as dangerous. When spreaders were asked to sit with legs together and arms contained, they reported feeling vulnerable and exposed. When perchers were asked to sit fully back in chairs, they described feeling trapped. Your sitting position isn't preference, it's protection. And changing it triggers the original fear. But arm position adds another layer. Arms crossed over chest or stomach shows active self-protection and boundary defense. One arm across body touching opposite arm reveals self-soothing from freeze response. Hands gripping chair arms indicates control-seeking from powerlessness trauma. Hands hidden under legs or in pockets signals shame-based trauma response. Your arms are literally doing what they learned to do when you were small and scared. The spine tells its own truth. Curved forward into protective C-shape shows collapsed trauma response. Rigidly straight, unnaturally upright reveals hypervigilant control. One shoulder higher than the other often indicates asymmetrical trauma, sometimes linked to protecting one side of body from threat. Your spine is holding the posture of protection it learned before you had words. Then there's the furniture relationship itself. People with abandonment trauma often sit in corners or against walls, unconsciously protecting their backs. Those with engulfment trauma sit where they can see all exits. Those with betrayal trauma avoid sitting with their backs to doors. Your furniture choices aren't random. They're strategic positions, your threat detection system selected. But here's what changes everything. These patterns can heal. Somatic therapy research shows that consciously changing your sitting position and breathing through the discomfort can actually rewire trauma responses. Your body stored the trauma in posture. Your body can release it through postural change. That minimizer learning to slowly take more space while regulating nervous system activation. That spreader learning to contain without feeling vulnerable. That percher learning to land fully while maintaining safety awareness. Notice how you're sitting right now. Really notice. Is your body small or big? Are you ready to flee or settled in? Are you guarding or open? That position is information. Your nervous system speaking the only language it knew when the protection started. You're not sitting wrong. You're sitting the way a smart, scared child learned to sit to survive. But you're not that child anymore. And your body can learn new positions now that safety is real. Want to discover more hidden trauma responses in your everyday behavior? Subscribe now. Because at Baseline Human Core, we don't just observe habits. We decode the survival stories your body is still telling.